All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praises and infinite glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and also peace and safety to the Akim that spread across the four corners of the world, that's pushing out this truth with all diligence and also putting their lives on the line to do so. I'm the brother Karatazar here out of Great Millstone, Atlanta, here with the lesson. Going into the topic of, I'm going to entitle it In Due Time. Speaking of, Esau, which is the so-called white man. We say so-called because, his true name, his true biblical name is Esau or Edom. Okay? But, I'm speaking of his, time, rulership, which is quickly, coming to an end. All right. So in due time. All right. So what I have here pulled up in the etymology or etym online, is the word due, which is D-U-E. And it says from the early 15th century, it says that which is owed, what one deserves or entitled to. Okay. So the Lord, entitled, or promised, Israel, which is the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, to be the true, leaders, of the world. All right, starting with Yahweh Shai, King David on down. Okay. So this is what, the Lord, promised the Israelites, man. All right. So it's due, within the covenant, that the Lord established with Israel for us to be leaders, man, righteous leaders. Okay, that we're, the elect of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is entitled to that, man. Okay, it says. Yeah, that was pretty much the point on that. So what I have here pulled up is the book of Job, the 14th chapter and the 5th verse. And it says, seeing his days are determined, the numbers of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. That's right. So the Lord, appointed, or determined the number of days to the second to where Esau will be in rulership, man. All right, and us living in the last days, we clearly see, that his rulership, he doesn't have that same grip, so to speak, on his kingdom, man. He's losing it. All right, the scriptures speak about, in the book of 2nd Esdras, the 6th chapter, about how Jacob held the heel of Esau, man. All right. Matter of fact, let me get that, because that was a significant, period of time. When the book of Genesis goes into that, how Jacob held the heel of Esau, and how the elder would basically serve the younger because this prophecy. All right. We were speaking last week at camp about how prophecy trumps everything else, man. All right, because there's no way else around it. All right, you can't say, not to get too far off subject, but you can't say that the MOTB, isn't, or the C-HIP isn't relevant in the days that we're living in now, man. All right, what other religion of book goes into that other than the Bible? All right, so I'm going to go to 2nd Esdras chapter 6. I'll start at verse 7. It says, then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Okay, so this was Esdras inquiring, basically when will be the end, when basically Yahushua, returns and establishes authority, over the earth again, man. All right. It says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born unto him, Jacob's hand held the heel of Esau. Okay, so Jacob, we know Jacob's name was later changed to Israel, after he wrestled with the angel. Okay, so when Jacob and Esau, which were two different nations of people, were born, from out of the womb, all right, Jacob's hand, held, the heel of Esau, which symbolized that he's going to pull him out of, basically his rulership, man. All right. The Lord set it up that way, man. All right, ever since in the womb. The scriptures even mentioned that how they were fighting in the womb, man. All right. It says, verse 9, this is the point. For Esau is the end of the world. All right. So people, when people always say, "Oh, the end of the world," they think that everything's just going to stop. No, man. It's going to be a rulership after it, man. The Lord is still going to establish a kingdom. All right. That word world here, I believe it's like it's in the Greek, it goes into ion, man. All right, which goes into a kingdom, or so like a matter of fact, let me get that. See if I can expound, on the word ion. If internet have some so I can bear with me. Esau, he tries to hide, the information, because we know, that there's different meanings, for the word, world. One is cosmos, which goes into government, or harmonious arrangement, which was spoken of in John the 3rd chapter. But this here, is speaking of this world. It's speaking of, the kingdom, man. All right, if I'm not mistaken. All right, if brothers can correct me if I'm wrong. All right, but just continuing on with the point. It says for Esau. Reread that 9th verse again. It says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." All right. So Esau, he's the end of the world, man. All right, the so-called white man, his rulership wasn't meant to continue forever. All right, never in the scriptures did it says that Esau will rule forever, man. All right, it always speaks of his downfall. All right, he always has a negative connotation towards his name, man. All right, because he's the devil. He's the physical, the so-called white man is the physical counterpart of Satan. All right. So let me grab this verse. It's Sirach chapter 10 and verse 4. It says, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord. You know, because that's why, this is another reason why I went into the word do. You know, because the Lord, you know, is in control of the time. You know, he's in control of who rules, you know, who's taken out of authority, who's put into authority. The Lord, Yahweh, is in control of it all. Okay? And that's what you people fail to realize, you know, that the Lord set you up, man. All right? Because of your pride, you know, your greediness, you know, the devil that's, you know, that's within you. You know, the Lord is tricking you and he's playing you, because even Satan, you know, is in order, you know, to Yahweh's orders, man. All right, you can read that in the book of Job. All right, but I'm going to start this verse again. Sirach 10 and 4. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. That's right, man. In due time, in the set time, you know, the Lord is going to, you know, put up Israel, man. He's going to set up Israel. All right. The ways that society is as of right now is going to continue forever, man. All right, because we're not even allowed, you know, to glorify Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai in the level that we want to, because the wicked king is set up right now, man. All right, we can't even keep, you know, his Sabbath day to the fullness, you know, because we're in slavery. All right, so why would the Lord, you know, continue and to allow this to go on, man? All right, he's not. All right. So I'm gonna skip down a couple of verses. In verse 8, it says, because of unrighteous dealings, you see, the unrighteous dealings, you know, is what got Esau to the place that he's at now, because he's not a profitable leader. All right, it says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches gotten by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. That's going into the end of the world. All right, in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, man. The translation from kingdom, you know, from kingdom to kingdom, you know, is going into Esau's downfall, man. All right, and it's going to be in due time. All right, in a set time, you know, into where, you know, all hell has to break loose, man. All right, and it's going to crack at any moment now. All right, but Lord willing, you know, this lesson was edifying. I just wanted to touch on that. But before I close out, I want to give all praise and infinite glory unto Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Rachak Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And also peace and safety to the Akim that spread across the four corners of the world, that's putting out this truth with all diligence and putting their lives on the line to do so. Until the next time, I say shalom.